Not to state the obvious, but you yourself are black, African American. I mean, isn't the KKK opposed to your race?
See, I knew you were going to try that. You haven't been listening to me, son. This is the new Klan, okay? Let me show you something.
Well, I've been working on a thing. It's sort of like Stummies.
Go on. I like what I hear so far.
It's exactly like Stummies.
And the twist is?
It's a much bigger pill.
I like a lot. Is it ready for production?
Yes, sir. It's ready to go.
Yeah, but have there been any side effects?
Yes, sir. A few side effects.
Well, that's okay. As long as there's no flipper babies, right, Don?
Well, there have been a few flipper babies.
Eat!
J.C. stops when her high heel gets caught in the grating of a sewer. Suddenly, a man steps in the frame and points a gun at her. This is not her day. Fade to black. Title: 3 weeks earlier.
All right, help me in with this. Help me in with this. Help me in with this.
Think of your secretary.
That's a very good suggestion.
Use the PA! You're supposed to be big and scary.
Reset!
I hope you brought rubbers, because a storm is coming.
That's nasty and not even a little scary. Rubbers?
No rain booties.
Don't improvise! Reset!
She just took credit for my salad. That's not right.
No, it isn't.
I mean, I'm the one that bought it.
Yes, you did.
Don't you think she should have said something?
She could have.
Oh, I know.
Imagine her taking credit for your big salad.
You know, you buy a big salad for somebody, it would be nice if they knew it.
Obviously.
Well, haven't you anything to say? Anything? Out of sheer honesty?
Yes, I would just love a duck dinner.
I asked Denny, how do you feel about gun control?
For communists.
What about banning assault weapons in the private sector?
As soon as you say it's okay to ban assault weapons, my friend, even in the private sector, you make it easier to take guns away from hunting than personal protection. Soon, the military and the police are without firearms.
Let's get back to
right. So these punks,
yes,
I don't know if they wanted money or they wanted something more sexual.
Wow.
But it's a lucky thing I had my pieces.
Your pieces?
My guns.
Oh.
Anyway, I started blasting. Bang!
Wow.
Bang! Well, I don't see so good, so I missed. Then they ran away. I ran after them.
Okay.
Bang! Try to shoot them in the back. But I don't run so good either. Anyway, you guys all think I'm a hero, and I'll accept that responsibility.
For shame, Doc. Hunting rabbits with an elephant gun.
Elephant gun?
That's right, Doc. So why don't you go shoot yourself an elephant? You do, and I'll give you such a pinch!
We're going to start our volleys. We hope you like the show. For everything is ready. We're raring to go. We'll give you all the latest songs and dances full of pep. We're gonna start with high chops. Just watch this chorus steps.
I'm travelling on the BART commuter rail, heading eastwards on the Millbrae to Richmond line. Berkeley is my first port of call on the shores of San Francisco Bay. Originally settled as Ocean View during the 1850s, the city's population boomed with displaced
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Fantastic Comics Presents, the comic book show from a comic book store owner's point of view. That's what separates us from all the other comic book shows. I don't tell you about prices of comic books and how they've surged in the secondary market. I just tell you about things that I think are worthwhile, things about the industry that you might not know, and things about, I don't know, other stuff. For those of you that are not, initiated, we are a comic book store in Berkeley, California. Fantastic Comics. We're open every Wednesday through Sunday from 12 to 5 p.m. You can contact us on a myriad of ways. But Fantastic Comics is the way to go. I talk to people on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Sometimes they email us. And you can do that by going to fantasticcomics.com. It'll take you to .net. Anyway, that's how you do it. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. I really appreciate it. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about the comic book industry as far as the health of it. I mean, more often than not, we kind of talk about that anyway. But specifically, some things have been going on and arguments have been continuing over the last couple of weeks between luminaries, journalists, if you will, all sorts of people, and a crazy amount of fans that, get crazy. They are fans after all. I dropped my Booster Gold figure and I'm trying to put him up while I talk to you. I don't know why I have to do this now, but that's what I'm doing. Did I thank you all for joining us? I appreciate it. At the beginning of every show, I like to talk about things that we talk about in the comic book store. And one of the things we talk about, even though I'm not really up on all my knowledge as far as it is concerned, it is something that comes through and something that's important to a lot of people. So this is the segment we like to call That's right. This is the Wrestling Minute, where I take a minute, maybe a little bit more. I don't think it's going to be so today. Last week, Jay Briscoe died. We talked about it in the very beginning, talked about what I knew, and then after the Wrestling Minute, we talked some more. Not all things that's said after the Wrestling Minute is necessarily true. So it seems like Jay is the person who died, and then he has children that were in the car, and at least one of them is in the hospital. So that's a bummer. AEW, which is on TBS and TNT, depending on what day and what's going on, but TBS, they wanted to do a tribute show, maybe match for Jay Briscoe, but Warner Brothers, TBS, all the people that are involved with these decisions that aren't AEW said no. This week, they finally relented, and there's going to be a Jay Lethal Mark Briscoe match. Very reminiscent of when Bret Hart wrestled himself in WCW after his brother Owen died. If anybody gets that, you can say in chat or afterwards in comments down below. So that's a bummer, but this Wednesday, there's going to be a very emotional match. If anything, that should be a reason to tune in. As far as Raw and SmackDown, the WWE, which is, I guess, now back in control by Vince, but not in the creative sense, things are going great if you are in the Uso Bloodline Sami Zayn storyline with Kevin Owens. Almost everything else, not so much, but it is Royal Rumble season, which means it's WrestleMania season, and the Royal Rumble is this Saturday. Having said that, there were a couple of things that happened on Raw this week that were of note. They were in Philadelphia, and Paul Heyman wanted to let the Philadelphia crowd, and more importantly, Roman Reigns, know.
My tribal chief, ECW is dead.
We're going to have these problems again, I guess. ECW is dead is what he said, and he got a lot of crowd to boo. But even more importantly, this is what Paul Heyman had to say about the Philadelphia Eagles. Oh, please play.
And we're going to feel like the fans of the Philadelphia Eagles.
The fans of the Philadelphia Eagles when they Brock Purdy all... God damn this thing. What's wrong? What's going on here? Well, whatever. That's what happened. And with that, that's your Wrestling Minute. Jeez, everything I got that I clipped for y'all after like the beginning of the show, it just always seems to fail now. I've got a few new versions of some old ones that didn't work, so we'll see how that goes later on. But first, I'd like to let everybody know about our Patreon page. We have one of those. It's just Fantastic Comics, like I told you our social media is. And, you know, it's just a way you can, like, tip me for doing a great show.
You know, my last name is Costanza. That's Italian. So you and I are kind of like countrymen. Huh? Paisanos! 650 your change. Ah, yes. And I always take care of my paisanos. So here's a little something.
Antonio!
Si!
Vieni qua! Questa miserabile!
All right, that one worked at least. One last time, and this is for all the people after the fact also. Again, thank you for tuning in. If you are so inclined, maybe hit the thumbs up for liking us. Supposedly that's a big deal in getting us outreach out there, you know, our reach out there. If you are stumbling on the show and you're like, damn, this guy's going to crack an expensive comic book, you're damn right I'm going to. CGC doesn't stand a chance in this house. And we're going to be doing that in a little bit. We're going to be talking about new comic books that are coming out. But first, I would like to say to everybody out there,
we didn't come to borrow any money. We didn't come to borrow any dough. We didn't come to borrow any trouble. We just stopped in to say hello. Oh, hello to you, Mr. Penny. Please don't think that we are hammy. We just stopped in from Alabama. We just stopped in to say hello. Oh boy, you said it. We just stopped in to say hello. And don't forget it. We just stopped in to say hello. And I'm hello. Hello. Goodbye.
oh, let me just fix this here, right here. Get this a little bit lower. Oh, yeah. There you go. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Whoa. It's a good thing there's nothing bad back there. Oh, my goodness gracious. All right. Sorry, guys. Shouldn't have to fix that during the show. I also heard I didn't do a very good job as far as my audio last week. I was plugged into the wrong thing. Hopefully I sound better. Maybe you can tell me in chat. First up early, yo, with the comics industry, we're a human being. It's currently in a senior home. Not quite on a ventilator or hospice care, but it ain't breaking any powerlifting records either. Mandelbaum. Doc Postlot says, cheers all. Hello, Doc. Elithidor says, hell of a week to add Rick and Morty. Ain't that the truth? I had a picture that I had ready to go for this. I didn't put it up, though. Maybe this will be like the last time we ever see this person again. I guess I hope so. I don't really know the full thing about it, so I really don't want to speak out of turn. But breaking, Justin Roiland will no longer be working on Rick and Morty as Adult Swim is parting ways with the series co-creator following domestic abuse charges. According to a report from Deadline, production on the series will continue without Roiland. And already there's a lot of clips of people out there that do a perfect Morty. So there you go. It's not me. I think his ad-lib shit was pretty stupid more often than not anyway. And I don't know about his real life, but when you hear him in, say stupid things, I overall think he's probably trying to be funny. Having said that, I agree. Hell of a week to be using that, but it plays into something a little bit later. Jilby Pill says travel logs make any city or town look almost livable. LOL. That's right, everybody. That was Fantastic Comics in the beginning of a British show about the great American railroads. And he's traveling the BART line for a while. Mr. Snickbit, comic historian on YouTube channel, swears the market of comics is very healthy and that it's only the political right leaning saying the market is bad. Your thoughts? Well, I'll be talking about that. I think it's the people that talk about the industry either are in the industry, like me, report on the industry like a journalist. And then there's the people that were, mainstream and aren't a lot of times, or people that are trying to break in. And then, of course, there's your culture war and shit like that. If comic historians out there saying it's a political right leaning, then he's playing into the culture. There you go. He's saying these people can't stand it. There are also people, see, now within these groups, there's people that want it to succeed, and then there's people that are actually actively cheering for it to not succeed. And that's the shame. I mean, I don't know. I hear the Goo Goo Muck is the song for the Wednesday Addams show on Netflix. And there's a certain part of me as an old guy that grew up with the Cramps that when new people are doing TikTok dances to it, I wish it never would have happened. Maybe even from the very beginning. And that's sad because I've gotten so much enjoyment over that song. But, as your favorite indie band starts becoming more popular, that might be one of the reasons why people want to see the comic books fail. But, yeah, we'll get into it. Battle Buddy says, cricket. Yeah, just so that you can send another one out. Thank you very much. That's great to hear, Doc. Sick Media Comics. Yo, what's up? We're going to crack one of my all-time favorite comic books right here. Look at that. All that stuff I should have done as a kid. Work for the man. Get a free walkie-talkie or something. Whatever happened to John Lasseter? Didn't he have the same fate as a Rick and Morty guy? I don't know who that is. Sorry. Funny enough about Rick and Morty, Justin Roiland's in trouble now, but it was Dan Hartman that was always in trouble because of his wanting relationships with women when he already had one. Even with the silly so if I got enjoyment out of it, Jill asks, why not let others even with the silly I agree. But it's just a little thing that rankles. It was mine, and now I'm sharing with a lot of people. Comic books are a lot like that. It was mine, almost forcibly mine, because ain't nobody else, even though there was more of us then that partook of it in comic books, it wasn't accepted. And now it's over accepted. And I have people that come into the comic store and they want to get a comic book so they can get an idea for cosplay and stuff like that. It's a different group of people. There's nothing wrong with any of it. But, it's anytime you got to share, I didn't care about that toy until my brother wanted it, maybe. Oh, the Toy Story creator. I see. He got in trouble, huh? Had some vague controversies, but enough that Pixar shit canned him. Yeah, well, And then they moved over to Disney anyway, right? Can't fuck around, find out. There's that meme of the guy doing the chalkboard behind him, and he's showing you the diagram of fucking around and finding out and where it intersects. He's the head of Universal's animation, I believe. All right, excellent. Let's talk about new comics. Let's get that banner up. Boom. No. Wait, hold on a second. Boom. All right. Gonna talk some new comics. Oh shoot, I wanted to do this. Let's get rid of that picture. Let me just do this really quick. Yeah, there is no real quick when I do this. Oh well. All right, we'll just do this. Hope for the best, everybody. Hope for the best. All right, first up, we've got, I like how they do these out of order. Saga 61, after a very, very short break, especially considering how big a break they took the first time or the last time. Saga's back on for another 6 issues. 61's coming out for all my customers that have it on their pull list. All right, you're cool. You're ready to go. So it's time to start coming back in if you haven't been doing that. And you know what? There's some really cool comics, and we're going to talk about some of them coming out. So Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples' Saga is in stock. And if you need to get caught up, we've got the trades also, of course. Number 18 of Amazing Spider-Man is, I think, the last Spider-Man Dark Web storyline. There's still going to be like an Omega issue and all the other shenanigans that, well, I think all those are wrapped up now too. So it was a real short but sweet. And we'll see how this issue goes, because like, although the art's been good, I overall really haven't liked it. Especially the last issue kind of was not so good. Anyhow, I'm still looking forward to the end of this, and also looking forward to moving on. Detective Comics is out tomorrow. This is the 1068th issue. I heard they're going to be actually canceling the series and starting it over, which is a little odd, but I don't know if that's 100% true. To do that after you went to all the trouble to renumber or to catch up with your numbering and then have 1,000th issue and all the other stuff that you do. I mean, you're skipping out on the 1100th issue and the 1200th issue and all that jazz. But maybe they feel a new number one, or maybe it's a new direction. We'll find out. A new direction for Superman in Action Comics 1051 is that this is a a family book now. So you can see, let me just turn this off. Let me turn that off for a second. You can see there's a Lois and Clark story. There's a Power Girl Reborn story. You can see all the different characters on the cover. And yeah, so it's going to be a family book. I have preached the importance of the family books coming back. So if it's going to be an Action Comics, I'm okay with it. This is the first issue you want to jump on. This is where you're going to see Steel. This is where you're going to see Natasha Irons. You're going to see all the different Supermen and Superboys and Supergirls. So if you're a fan, you should check this out. All right. Next up, we've got Batman One Bad Day, Catwoman #1. It's a one-shot. It is written by G. Willow Wilson, for all of you fans out there, and it's drawn by Jamie McKelvey. I like to say McKelvey. But McKelvey. And it looks great. I already paged through it, but you know my rule. I'm not reading no Batman books this year. And this counts. So these all have been doing really well for me. I don't over order, but I always have like one left over for people, and you know I can always reorder. So this is one you should definitely check out, especially if you're a Bat Person fan. After what seemed like a long time, Justice Society of America #2 is out, and like other people have suggested in the last couple of weeks, this is indeed a maxi series, I will say. In one of my most recent orders for Lunar DC, it said like 4 of 12. So that's unfortunate. But Jeff Johns did a really good first issue. Something that isn't about Batman. And the Huntress is going back in time to get the Justice Society together, it felt like. And yeah, it was a good first issue. I got plenty for you if you want to get back on this title. And yeah, Jeff Johns, really good. I'm going to pass this one up and move it down. Hold on one moment. All right, very good. Next up, Jeff Johns again with Gary Frank. They did a little series called Geiger last year, and this is the side story called Junkyard Joe. I'm assuming there's going to be more Geiger eventually, but until then, this has been a really cool series. Gary Frank is a fantastic illustrator, one of my favorites working in the industry right now. I think I have all the issues, so you should come on and pick them up if you haven't already. And then for all of you that are into it, pick it up. Next up, we have DC Universe, Lazarus Planet, We Once Were Gods. I thought this was a Wonder Woman one because I see Yara Flora there, but then I also see Shazam, so I'm assuming it's like just the godlike characters. Anyway, I am passing on almost all of the Lazarus Planet, but looking at the names, I love Manipal, especially if he's doing art. And yeah, so there you go. But he's in the writer area. Doctor Strange #3, speaking of artists that are also writers, on this book we have Trad Moore penning and penciling. Let's be real, you're picking this book up for the art, and none of it disappoints. It's all wonderful. You should definitely pick this one up. I'm going to even bring my last #1 to the store that I have here at my house. I'm going to take it to the store so that we can have somebody be able to buy all 3 issues. For those of you that were fans of The Last Ronin, there is I think it's a new series called The Lost Years. So this is going to fill in the gap between The Last Ronin and The Last Turtles book, which hasn't really happened. But it's all, Eastman and Eastman inspired as far as the art and everything. So for those of you that like that, for those of you that like the old school Turtles, you should probably check this one out. You know what? We're going to save that one for later. Gargoyles #2 comes out. If you're fans of the series, if you're not, you should check out Disney Plus. They have it all up there. And Riker is the main gargoyle. Check it out. Oh, yeah. So when I was a kid in my teens, my late teens, it might have been, probably late teens, Disney owned KCAL 9, which was our off channel, not ABC, CBS, NBC, not Fox, but KCAL, the channel that played all the Laker games before cable. And they had a block of television during that time, or during the daytime, the Disney Hour or whatever, Disney Kids. And it had Chip and Dale. It had DuckTales. Did I say the Tailspin? And then it had Darkwing Duck. And, the other ones were nice and everything, but I didn't want to sit around just watching cartoons with my little brothers. But Darkwing Duck was one I really dug. And it's coming back in comic book form, so check it out. I'm excited, actually. I'm really excited. All right, Sandman Universe Dead Boy Detectives #2 is out tomorrow, and this is part of my Yule Club, we're going to call it. You have to buy this monthly. You have to read it. You have to come in and talk to me about it. And when you are done with the series, or the first 6 issues, or the first storyline, you will be gifted, for your next purchase, a $5 credit. This is one of the Yule Club books. So I highly recommend you checking it out. I love the Dead Boy Detectives. They were a really cool, it was a really cool story within Seasons of Mist. One of my favorite Sandman stories. It's either the Destruction storyline, I can never remember that one, or it's Dollhouse, or it's Seasons of Mist. And Kelly Jones was definitely, for a long time, one of my favorite pencilers working. Probably the nod goes to Seasons of Mist. Although Chris Bachalo did a storyline in Doll's House, or an issue on Doll's House. And there's some, Sandman's a good series. Anyway, this one you should check out. Oh, it's also written by Pishotstat, Pornsak Pishotstat, and he did a cool series called Infidel for Image. Holy cow! Mark Miller keeps pumping out these magic orders. This one's drawn by D.K. Ruan, who was also a penciler on Shang-Chi with Gene Yang, and does some other stuff. So Mark Miller, as usual, taking a really good penciler and putting him on a book and paying him good money. And Magic Order, holy cow! This is one of the series. This is one of the ones that's supposed to be a Netflix series for sure, but I don't think has been yet. So he's just keeps pumping out these stories like one after another. It's quite refreshing when we're considering the Mark Miller books, because often it will be like, many years in between, kind of like American Jesus, which is coming out right now. That one's been coming out since like 2000, and it's only on like its 4th book, and like here we already have Magic Order. I would be remiss if I didn't talk about #2 of Dahlia in the Dark, written by friend, hero, comic writer extraordinaire to this show and many others, Joe Corallo, our buddy. If you haven't watched the episode where we talk about Luda, the Grant Morrison novel, you should check that one out. But until then, you should pick up Dahlia in the Dark. The first issue was awesome. It had some really good action. And, for those of you that think like comics are, a certain way, you should check it out. It's not. Good art. Next up, we have Thor. This is part 2 of Torrin Gronbeck's first Thor story, picking up for Donny Cates, who is not working for the most part in the mainstream right now. And yeah, there you go. Thor. Nick Klein on art. First issue was cool. Looking forward to it. Traveling to Mars, #3 comes out, written by Mark Russell. He's one of my favorite writers working in the industry. I only read the first issue, but I've had a couple of people come up to me and say they really are enjoying the series and they're very happy that I let them know about it. You can be one of those too. Come on in. We have all the issues. And oh, look at that. See it, put them all out of order. That's cool. We can do this. All right, next up. And this is, yeah, we have one more, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Last up, we have Sins of Sinister #1. And this is the big event that seems to only last a couple months and isn't going to be very expensive if you read all the X books. But I'm sure they'll figure out a way to, get your money from you. I have not been reading Immortal X-Men and X-Men Red, but I have been reading the regular X-Men series. The regular X-Men series is fine. I enjoy it. It's just superheroing for the most part. But Immortal, let me get share screen. We're going to share this screen right now. The food cam. Excellent. Sins of Sinister coming out. Some people feel this is like what Hickman was getting to. And to get ready for this one, I wanted to read some Immortal X-Men because Mr. Sinister is deep in it. So I read 7 because it had Mystique and Destiny in a London Sherlock Holmes type thing. They're really Sherlock Holmes and Watson. It was horrible. I hated it. It was not good. I didn't enjoy it at all. But then I read the next issue of Immortal X-Men, and this is the one right here, #8. Art by Wernick, who's also the artist or one of the artists on that Sins of Sinister. Kieran Gillen, the writer of this, is also the writer of that. And in this issue, so for those of you that don't know, the Immortal X-Men is like the Quiet Council. It's like the Game of Thrones of X-Men, where all the talking and the machinations go on. And that's what's going on right here. And they're actually getting along. And Kitty Pryde's narrating this right now. You even see Hope and dude. Oh geez, I'm forgetting his name right now. The sycophant for Magneto from back in the day. It doesn't matter. They're getting along until Sinister shows up. Sinister shows up, and Destiny says, he's about to kill me. Sinister's about to kill me. And he's like, he's spoil sport. And he gets blown up. Brain matter everywhere. And Kitty Pryde is narrating this. And you know how I love narrating in comic books. She's like, what's going on? And then we do something that I normally don't like. And that's where the Rick and Morty comes in. Sinister is having a conversation from before with Destiny. And he gets back and he's like, I got to get my plans together. And he's talking about clones of Moira McTaggart. And for those of you that don't know, Moira McTaggart, when they started House of X and Power of 10 with Hickman, she had the ability to come back to life and start the world over again. All right, there's a lot of weirdness about that. But when she would become a mutant, then the power will kick in. So, there might have been attempts at her life when she was young. She's not involved anymore, but Sinister's cloning her body. And here he is talking about all this stuff. And he's like, if I should screw up at the Quiet Council, I want to be rebooted back to this moment. And he purposely says, I don't want to go back to Judgment Day. And for those of you that read Judgment Day, you probably feel the same way. Could you imagine going back to that and having to read that again? So Sinister is getting his plans together, and then we see once again the end result of what happened. And that was the end of Moira McTaggart. And I think it's like the 5th one that he's created. So there's some weirdness going on every time they relaunch a new world again. So, and then there's even this cute little, it's another thing about the X books, something that Hickman loves to do is he has these charts and diagrams and everything. And every time Sinister tries, it gets updated. Well, not every time, but it gets updated. And then you see all the casualties and all the different lives. And Moira's got 10 lives. So he's got some experimenting to do. Then he goes for it. So here's the end. Oh, yeah. So here's like Moira life number 2 gets blown up again. Here he is on life 3. And then he actually kills somebody. And then he dies. And then there's this nice montage of all these different lives that he goes through. I love this issue. I thought it was really, really cool. And there's one more to go before Sins of Sinister, and there's a big surprise ending. So if you don't know anything about that, Immortal X-Men number 10 leads perfectly into Sins of Sinister. If you're getting that and haven't been reading, if you haven't been caught up with this, and I kind of just got you up a little bit, you should be picking this up if you like it. If you're interested at all in anything that I just told you, because I didn't tell you everything that happened, those last 2 issues were really good. I'm looking forward to Sins of Sinister. I haven't been reading a lot of X-Men lately, so this will be good. And that's my review of Immortal X-Men number 10. And now it's time to crack a slab. What do you guys say? All right, I'm going to try and get my camera so that you all can see it. So hold on a second. Let me. I should have done this. Oh well. You know what? I'm gonna play a commercial. Let's see if this works.
High Pepperito, give me hyper-diarrhea. High Pepperito, give me hyper-diarrhea. Whoa, give me hyper-diarrhea. Whoa, give me hyper-diarrhea. Whoa, give me hyper-diarrhea. Quesadillas with high Pepperito. Give me hyper-diarrhea.
All right, everybody, let's see if this works. Excuse me, sorry. All right, this is a 9/6 X-Men number 123. We'll tell you more about this in just a minute. We'll go to Mother's Basement and check it out. But my idea of this is that these are going in my personal collection. Let me try and get this down a little bit lower. This is going in my private collection. And my private collection is it's in these boxes back here. You can see some down on the ground and some of my other shit on the ground. And I've always planned on taking these out of the case. But I've been really wanting to do it a lot lately because I've been hating on CGC. In reality, I've hated on them ever since they've been a thing. I mean, there was always some ridiculous stuff about the way they charge depending on how expensive your comic is and so like it would behoove them to grade it better. I mean, just things like that. And then recently, Red Letter Media did a whole thing about the people that are grading videotapes. And I'm not doing this the professional way. I'm just getting a crack in the seam and going for it. Sorry about the hammering. That's the problem with good quality now, huh? Obviously, I wanted a nice book. So that's the reason why I bought a CGC comic book. So when I'm buying like from far away and I don't know who the grader is, the seller, I should say. It's understandable why you would get a CGC comic book. But I don't know, man. When we send them out because we want to put it on our wall or something and we want to look at it, I was talking to a guy and he's all, yeah, it's like it's fetishizing the comic book. Oops, sorry. That one didn't work. And, that's not what I'm all about. I guess to some degree, because I want to be the one to ruin the comic book. I hope my volume's up. Let me just take this off really quick. Oh, shit. All right, you can hear me good. All right, now I got a crack in every side. I'm just gonna do like this. I think I got the style for it now and how to open these without just chipping it all over the place. We're gonna have a video of cracking that we did for Talking Soul, a channel member. And there you go, I have it right here. And here's the comic book with a little bit of chips in it. But that's okay, I'll just put them right here first. Just go like that. And I don't know, I just want to put my money where my mouth is as far as this stuff is concerned. And on top of it, CGC, there's no guarantee that these things are protecting your books anyway. All right, that was pretty successful, I think, even though it was loud. So there you go. And this is one of my favorite comic books ever. When I bought it, I was not an X-Men fan. Well, let's say, let me get this up. Hopefully this won't fall. What are you eating? Looks like a donut or something. Apple fritter. He loves his apple fritters, guys. If you go to a donut store before you come to our store and you pick up an apple fritter on a day that the food cam guy is here, I'll pay you back for it. You gotta be lucky though. So I love this comic book. Look at that. It's everything. This is a 40-cent comic book in 1979. I bought it off a spinner rack, not unlike that, in a liquor store. There wasn't a 7-Eleven everywhere. It was real close to a Thrifty's where they give you those cylindrical ice creams. I'm going to move my mic. I hope it doesn't screw anything up. All right. Yeah, you can hear me good. All right. So I bought that comic book because of the picture in the cover. And I was like, oh my God, I gotta get this comic because it has Spider-Man in it right there. That's why I got it. I watched The Electric Company. I watched I don't think I had watched the 60s cartoon yet. I don't remember if I had seen that yet. But, there was some good Spidey action going on. Let me check comments real quick. Let's see. All right, Toy Store Creator, got that. Are there any new comics worth buying? Well, I just talked about a few. I mean, most of those. So let me tell you right now, before we get into to the real weeds of all that stuff. The 4 comic books that I'm putting, you got to go all the way through with it. You got to go all the way through. You got to come in. You got to talk to me. We got to keep up on a monthly basis, or as often as they come out, so it can be hot and heavy when it comes to some of these, like this one, the bi-weekly, and actually it came out 2 weeks in a row. The 1 Minute War. There was a big surprise at the end of the last issue. Was it a big surprise? Because I haven't been reading Flash for a while, but it was one, and I've been enjoying this. It's very frantic, like you would assume a war that lasts a minute amongst speedsters would be. So, yeah, that's one of the books. This is another book. Danger Street. I know, by Tom King. But Jorge Fornes does the art. Dave Stewart of the Eurythmics does the coloring. And it's taking characters that aren't very known. And not known like Adam Strange isn't known. Not known even more than that. With the exception of the Creeper and the Manhunter and maybe Metamorpho. But that's because they were all in first issue specials, 1 through 14 or 15, whatever the hell number it was, where there was a different character in each issue. So it was an anthology of sorts. Also, so that's 2. That's a 12-issue series. This is a 3-issue, $7.99 series each issue. Spy Superb by Matt Kent. He does the art. It looks like this cover right here. Highly recommended. It's funny. It's a send-up of private eye type stuff, or the unwitting agent is what it is. It's kind of like a Pink Panther type thing. You should check it out. I got more copies coming in tomorrow. And lastly, from Marvel, we have Joe Fixit. Peter David's writing it, and it's taking place back when the Hulk was Mr. Fixit. Spider-Man was in the last issue. Kingpin had the temerity to try and punch this guy right here. The Kingpin. Ain't gonna happen. Those are 4 books right there. I have not read it yet, but I'm really looking forward to Immortal Cop. That's a Joe Kelly book. And yeah, so there you go. Saga, still loving it. Awesome. I was never the biggest fan of Saga, but it's been very solid all the way through. And there's been some really cool moments, like when that thing happened before that real long break that occurred. I know we've talked about it, but there's always someone new. Spider-Man has been jarring. Detective Comics is slow, but I like what I like. Amen. I've this last storyline with Spidey, not so much. Everything else I've been very okay with. And let's see. JSA, not bad. Fun and sick work. Okay, very good. I'm hyped for Gargoyles. All right. And there's Jay Lee covers. So, Jilby Pills chimes with Tailspin. Gummy Bears, I thought, was on Saturday mornings, if I'm not mistaken, but it could have been a USA thing after that. Talking Salsa, that's, your fave done it also. All right. Well, it's a better possibility. Can I find out which employee graded my comic? I don't know if you're talking about CGC, because they say there's multiple people that do. If it's my story, it's always me. That's the thing. I'm always answerable. Have I screwed up? Yeah. I've screwed up and agreed with CGC. I've gotten something that I bought that was CGC graded that I don't agree with. I've had other people, I've heard multiple people, whether it be on the YouTube, internet, in person, not agree with the grade that CGC gives. Everybody thinks their shit's good. When people are selling to me, I say, well, it always depends on condition. First thing they tell me is about how it's still in a bag and board. Well, I've chimed in around here a lot on the internet. For anybody that will listen, change your bags and boards. It's disgusting. I have to. Before the pandemic, I had masks. And why do we have masks? Because every time I would like breathe in those comics, I would like break out. It was horrible. I was like a teenager. and now we do the gloves and everything. Taking them out of the bags and boards. Woof. Or I have somebody else do it. Is he here? One of my little helpers. Well, my little helper. Not gonna lie, that food cam is making me queasy after you'll. That person's responsible for both. CGC. Yeah, I don't know about finding out who it was, but supposedly like 2 graders and one other person isn't. I don't know why it's not 3 graders, but I think it's 2 and 1. People are involved in the grading of all the comics. That seems like it would take a real long time, but you want it to be, ideally the same. The problem is that there's always in-betweens, and not only that, each person has their own little specific things that they don't have a problem with. There's allowances that can be made. I've seen some like, oh my God, this bend in the spine is just outrageous. And it's like a 9.4. It's like, that's near the top, and when you look at the prices, like 9.6 to 9.8 is ridiculous. Well, 9.2 to 9.4 can be the same way unless you get lucky. 9.4 to 9.6, you're really expecting those 2 points better be a nice book, and then it comes back and it's written on or something, and they allow it. But even still, I would think that would be the 9.4 one. This would be the 9.6 one. Jasper Plan 9 is here to say hello, everybody. Hello. Yes, you did miss the slab cracking. This is the book I cracked open. My very first X-Men I ever bought. It was in a liquor store. My dad, before I got this, years before, would be like, he would pick up a Justice League, a couple comic books, and he would paraphrase everything. He would, he would just not tell you everything. And I knew that he was skipping out because there were just so many more balloons than words he was speaking. And yeah, it forced me to want to read. So when I was 9, this was my first X-Men. And I got it because Spider-Man was making a cameo appearance. I could read comic books, but I didn't know what a cameo was. I thought it was just a brooch. Holy cow. So now, with that, let me do this. Oh, do I have it? Please don't suck.
Here! I'm down here! Down here!
Mr. Sheldon?
All right, I gotta bring these in right there. This will be easy. Just gonna take a second. And I'm going to share with you my favorite comic ever. God, this one. All right, so first and foremost, this cover. It's great. I mean, I didn't know who Arcade was. I was reading only like Amazing Spider-Man, Marvel Tales, reprints and collections because they had trades back then. It just wasn't like it is today. And John Byrne, man, he draws a damn good Spider-Man, if you ask me. And I was like all on board immediately. I didn't know Chris Claremont, John Byrne, Terry Austin. It took me a while till I even cared who those people were. But I was like, this guy can draw a Spidey. And Spidey's swinging New York, and he's like, oh, hey, I spot these people. And he does something he doesn't usually do. Chris Claremont. The problem is that these guys were working on Marvel Team Up also at the time. John Byrne was amazing. He was getting, there were less pages in comic books, but look at the art, look at the panels, look at the story that's being told in front of us. Look at Scott Summers with Colleen Wing. The X-Men will be in Power Man and Iron Fist because Colleen Wing is, a daughter of the dragon, I guess. And Spider-Man says, hey, yeah, have a good night. See you later. Boom, gone. Spider-Man, gone. I bought this comic for Spider-Man. I don't know who that guy in the red goggles is at all. I don't know who Colleen Wing is at all. Spidey's still in. All right, good. We got this still going on. Just, Slang. Spidey's all slang. I know what that is. And then it says MTU number 60. What is that? 65? I don't know. Something like that. I didn't know what Marvel Team Up was, or that MTU would mean Marvel Team Up. I'm sure I was getting some of those also at the time. But, I was a kid and going to the store to get comics wasn't like a priority all the time. And, and if it was just Spidey. During this time, I was reading Spidey in the 190s and the 200s. So that's like, that's a lot of that's my jam. Spidey's like, oh my goodness, this clothing is here. Nightcrawler and Peter are out. I'm assuming that's Amanda Sefton. But I don't know who the other lady is. Anyway, they get gassed in this elevator and get airlifted out by this helicopter. Again, don't know who this blue dude is. Don't know who Colossus is at all. Wolverine with Mariko. Why'd they have to kill her off, man? This is like the best time. Look at Logan. I was always amazed by like this like stippling behind him in the background, that shading. I think that's just oh my god, what is it called? Zipatone. Zipatone is what it's called. My buddy who's an inker, we got Zipatone because it's not easy to get and it's not really produced anymore. And what he would do is he would cut it out and put it in the background like that. And then he found out and I've told people, they don't even know this. You just take the eraser and you erase it out. Stupid pencilers. Stupid inkers. All right, this dude, Sean Cassidy. I love Sean Cassidy, but this guy spells it with a U. And he gets shot from behind, so I don't even know what's this all about. Then getting out of the shower because the phone's ringing is Storm. John Byrne draws her pretty well. And the person on the other line is Spidey to suggest that maybe they should be paying attention because he heard some. And then Arcade picks up and says, oh, don't you worry. I got this taken care of. And then Spidey gets crazed and busts out of that phone booth, a phone booth for you kids out there, where we made phone calls for 5 cents, 10 cents, 15 cents, a quarter. And then Cyclops wakes up, and all the X-Men team are in their costumes, and they're in see-through pinballs. And Arcade introduces himself to them, and then he pulls the plunger, and they go careening off. Love the art. Oh man, it's just so cool. Cyclops is all, I'm all in there. Wolvie's all back there. They're all bouncing off the bumpers. And the first person to go anywhere is Cyclops, and he has 3 choices. I haven't looked at this book except to get these pictures ready, and I was really just cropping and not paying attention. So, I'm kind of like, looking at this for the first time in a long time. And, he's thinking about it, and of course, there's going to be a closing door situation. So he has to figure out what to do. And this is classic X-Men. Of course, I didn't know this at the time. To split the group up and then they get together happens all the time. Colossus, here he is talking to some Russian dude who's like telling him, you become such an American. I thought you were like, about the homeland and everything like that. So he's talking to him. And my 9-year-old brain barely knows what's going on. Now, Wolverine here, he's all about his heightened sentences, right? Like he can tell how far away something is maybe just by closing his eyes and sniffing. And in this situation with the mirrors, it's not only are they funhouse mirrors and it's screwing him up, but then Wolverines of himself start coming out. And then Nightcrawler. He's all by himself. And these cars, these cars come out and they have like buzzsaws on the side and they're going to clip him. Now, Banshee, he doesn't have his powers, and they tell you what issue that happens. He blows out his vocal powers. He can barely talk even. He's lucky he can talk. So, like, it almost feels like he shouldn't be here, but he's here. Tough titty. If you can tell me who the person is that Banshee fights against, that he blows his vocal cords out, his power, his mutant power, I'll give you a cookie. Anyway, he's being attacked. He doesn't have powers, so oh well. And then last, I think it's last, Storm. She gets capsized on this disc, and she finds herself underwater. Now, the thing about Storm is, and I'm kind of giving away some of the next issue. The thing about Storm is she goes in the water, and then the ceiling starts to close on her. Like every time she goes down and comes back up, it gets a little bit closer, or maybe the water is rising actually. She's a claustrophobic, not so much these days. She's gotten over it. Back to Cyclops, he makes his choice. He makes his choice to go through the wall, and he blasts one of Wolvie's competitors in mirror images. And then as they're walking through another door, the exit, Colossus punches him, and he's now the proletarian. He's been brainwashed by that Russian guy, and he wants to kill the X-Men. And Arcade, we're going to the end of the issue, going into the next issue. He's laughing, loving it. I love those. The disco clothes totally worked. And the ladies they were all with. So Amanda, Colleen, and who is it? Miss Betsy. Betsy. Who's Betsy? Who was with? It had to be somebody Colossus was with. Who's Betsy? Is it? Oh, why am I blank? I'm feeling like I should know this. Like, hey, you dummy. This is like a main X-Men character. Oh, whatever. That's it. Not a lot of pages. It also comes with the letters page where they actually mention a person that wrote a letter, and all these people are responding to that letter. It's kind of like social media, but it's more well thought out and also edited by editors and sometimes written by editors and then answered by editors. So it's kind of cool. It's nice. I really enjoyed that aspect of comics, and I'm sad that it doesn't exist because as a kid, I was really upset that there wasn't a lot of Spider-Man in this. And I didn't read the next issue for a long time. In fact, I didn't get back into the X-Men until at 7-Eleven for 2 issues in a row. Maybe it was the first time I ever actually bought 2 issues consecutively. Was the Days of Future Past, 141, 142. I think that's right. And then we started getting, my dad and I, and we started getting comic books like 143. Yeah, John Byrne's very last issue. And then, I've been buying X-Men off and on ever since. But this 123, what a great number. 123. Great pin code. Joking. Great issue. Chris Claremont, John Byrne, they're freaking at their best right now. And not only that, it's 123. We have a lot of issues till we get to the Dark Phoenix saga, or the beginning of it with the Proteus saga. That's pretty much, it goes 123, 124. I think Proteus starts the next storyline, and then we get into Dark Phoenix, and so yeah, and then we started getting all the back issues, when they would come in. Oh, instead of 40 cents, maybe this was probably like 10 or 12 bucks, at one time. I paid a lot more this time, or this last time. Let's look at comments really quick. If you guys want a calendar, come on into the store. Everyone, I did hear Gizmo bark. Been watching old episodes with you, Wes, Doc, and Paleo. Slapping it raw. Great show idea. Shame it didn't last. Yeah, Wes and Pele butted heads, I think. I don't think that's a secret. I don't think I'm talking out of class. Pele was definitely a driving force on that, and I also think Wes wasn't as into it. And then when Doc goes off, he's all, I can only do that so many times. I've talked to Doc, and he sounds like he'd like to be on. I should have told him about the 123, but there's more X-Men to go. I like how Spider-Man stands out on the page. Spider-Man always should stand out on the page. It's just an amazing character. But these guys here, and I mean, Dave Cockrum, and he designed some really cool characters. Just John Byrne, really made them sing. And, he has a nice cartoony style, but it also feels real. And one of my all-time faves, for sure. I love old books. You don't need to own them in sequence. You always get a full story. Yeah, because I knew everything about all these characters in this issue. Unfortunately, comics aren't written like this anymore. Very rarely, I should say, where they can catch any one person up. You always feel like you want to get all of them. But I never thought I was ever going to get all the Spider-Mans. Or I thought I would be so insanely successful at what I was doing, I would have the Spider-Mans. And it still counts. Those are all Walking Dead. Who got it right? We're sending you a Walking Dead. Zipatone. Yes. Nobody has got... Moby T got it right. So there you go, Moby. You got a Walking Dead coming your way. Just got to come in and get it. Magnum was powerful. I bought my classics as my reader copies once I found all the Byrne issues. Yeah. I don't know if that's the same thing as far as the other show, but it probably was a little bit of the same. Also, I think Pele was burnt out and was doing a lot of other stuff, real life stuff. I don't think he would. I think he'd respect it. I mean, I'm going to get some really good supplies. I mean, I have really good supplies to put these things in. The one thing, again, I have found that at least a little bit, these aren't always 100% in preserving the books. There's like ripples that occur. And not only that, if you're talking to Talking Soul, he says if you're really supposed to archive these, they're supposed to have like paper in between. That was a 9.6. Oh man, see, this is something I didn't see until I got it out of the case. It's got one of those printer defects where the cover kind of gets a little tight and makes a line. Let me see if I can, unless I scratched this. But I don't think I did. It's underneath it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. 9.6, everybody. 9.6. No, maybe the way I'm opening it, he might be like, oh my God, this is hammer and sickle. Let's talk about the comic book industry. Let me see if this plays, because this is the last thing. I want to thank all of you for tuning in. I want to thank all of you for tuning in after the fact. Again, if you're interested, maybe you might want to hit the thumbs up, subscribe, bell, leave a message after the fact, yada, yada, yada. Also, I want to thank all my Patreon subscribers, my patrons. You guys are awesome. You've kept me in business when I wasn't making any money. I was able to pay some bills. I'm still able to pay some bills. We're not out of the woods fully yet. Gotta just let you know that's the reality of the situation. We're going to be talking about that. I told you that was all Walking Dead. Make sure you bring one for Moby. The box, I mean. Oh, that was a bad order. But yeah, awesome that everybody has done it in the past, has done it recently, will be doing it in the future. We don't offer anything, so anything you do give is, here we go, right here. I'm going to buy some supplies for the store with some of the Patreon money, or a bill that goes along with it, or something like that. Don't forget, Free Comic Book Day is coming up the first Saturday of May. There's a lot of talk about the comics. So obviously, people know that I watch Perch's channel on YouTube. He is a former store owner multi times, and he got me into to know about the group. So as a retailer, I really didn't want to fuck around with those other comic book people for the most part. I love comic book stores and I love some comic book owners, but I'm not necessarily. I kind of feel like the industry is a real super carny industry. Unless it's damaged. So make sure it's not damaged. Yeah, it's pretty. Is it too damaged though? You know what? Keep it just in case. We can always discount it. Star Wars always keep. Doing comics, man. Let me get this. Let me get these things up for you guys. I want to get into the weeds just a little bit. All right, so You got all the people to talk about comics. You have your online sites. Please no, I didn't want to. Oh, it's the Alex Ross one. Yeah, keep it. I'll gift that to somebody. I got somebody in chat will want it. You got these sites. Certain people feel like they are indebted, or drinking the Kool-Aid, or just accepting any of the information that they're getting from on high. And we've seen it recently in Dungeons and Dragons, where people have been talking a lot of shit about Wizards of the Coast and some of the changes that they're making. And they immediately came out with an announcement making it sound like the people that were doing this were pieces of shit. Oh, you mean the people that have been playing your product for all these years? They just might be. Let me tell you, I've been in a few campaigns. They do it also in the comic books. And, I don't feel stupid. I mean, I'm not a smart guy, but I don't feel stupid. I know that the numbers are down from when we were successful, like really successful. And that was before we moved. I think we're better in some ways than we were ever in the bigger store where we were making a lot more money. But we were also incurring a lot more debt, and we had a lot more employees, and we probably should have figured some stuff out, or I should have listened to him. But, shit happens, and that's the reality of the store, running a store. We have seen from the Beat, there was an article that was written, and I shared this with you. I think Alex DeCampi came up with this information about what small publishers pay people, or I don't even know if this is small publishers. I think this is just publishers. Oh, no, small publishers, $25 a page. Yeah, for writing, or $100 a page. We have seen Aftershock. We found out they're not paying their people. We've known other companies to not pay people. I told you that when I worked for Blue Comet, I think it's on another spinner. Maybe, no, it's behind these. When I worked for Blue Comet, the traditional thing was to have the pencilers do 10-page stories. The story was told in 3 chapters, and anybody that bitched got some money, and then by the time they got done with the book, they weren't going to stick around anyway, so they didn't need to worry about getting paid. Everything else is pinups, and he could finish it up if he needed to. It's a reality. Comic companies aren't if I have terms with Diamond, I don't pay the minute I get the books. Diamond has terms with, the publisher also. There's 3, maybe 6 months, depending on how long it goes, before the creatives might actually see results, see actual money coming in. That's definitely a true statement when you're Image, because you get paid by the money you make, not by Image. The only people who get paid at Image are the employees and Brubaker and Sean Phillips. Okay, so you got you got Todd McFarlane gets paid by Image. His people working, for him get paid through that. Actually, it might not even be that way. It might even be more the other way. It's the office people get paid with the Image money. It doesn't really matter. That's getting hung up on the fact, that's just the way it is. You do not get a lot of money from smaller companies up front or often, and then they go out because they had a surplus of money at one time. They couldn't make their money. They kept going, hoping they could do it, hoping some white knight might come and offer a Netflix series, and then Aftershock's bankrupt. Should I be ordering books when they solicit them? I don't think I'm going to. This is a post on Twitter that has been going around. I talked about it the other day, where Heidi McDonald was talking about wanting. It was referencing an article she wrote for her The Beat, where she was talking, if people knew the numbers, then they would, maybe get boosted morale. So I suggested that morale would be crippled if that happened. And I also suggested that the Beat and CBR and Bleeding Cool, the major people with thought towards the comic book industry, really, they toe the company line to some degree, and they're like, shit's going great. They see the numbers of comic sales, and it's all been grouped into a category. All the pieces, it's like taking vegetables and putting them with fruit and saying this is one, all of this is doing really well. Produce is doing well. Ignoring the fact that fruit just isn't selling anymore, and it's only vegetables that are selling well. And the thing is that comic books, monthly comic books, the floppies, I hate to say it that way, I know some people don't like it, but periodicals, they are not selling like they used to. And I can see it with my store now. I can see it from the beginning of Donny Cates, from when we opened the store during a pandemic, and to how it is now. All right, Thor is doing well, but maybe something else isn't. You want something to at least be the same, but sales of Saga were dropping a little bit already in our store, which was a very good store for Saga sales. Now that we've moved, we still sell it very well. It's still our top seller. It probably still statistically has the same margin of victory over any other book. But the problem is that I was selling a lot more books at that high number at that same time when I was selling Saga. Batman was doing really well. Then it was Tom King's Batman, and that was doing very well. And now it's these other ones. And, I have customers that are coming in for the first time in a long time. And even though they're picking it up, they're saying to me, do you notice that there's a lot of Batman on this shelf? Well, ever since I started doing this freaking stuff, especially reaching out to other people as far as being on their shows, getting out there, it's always been too much Batman. I mean, it's been crazy for so long, and now everybody's realizing it. Now people are realizing it, and even if the quality is there, they can't keep up. It's just not possible. And then when you throw in Nightwing and Catwoman and all that other stuff, and the fact that sales aren't doing so well, there's no way to really gauge sales. So when they do, so when they're counting numbers, they used to count it from Diamond, who was the only company, because they were the accidental monopoly, distributing everybody's comics, deciding if they were going to distribute anybody's comics. They how was I saying this? They would give you all the numbers, right? I like that Thunder Agents. Isn't that Nick Spencer? Yeah, those were pretty good. Kafu, I like that artist also. Volume 1, yeah, keep those. Let's try and push those. We've got a few. Yeah, it's Thunder Agents. That's good for the old timers that haven't read that. Oh, that looks like some Is that James Tynion on Batman Eternal? Is that what that is? Oh, Talon. Bring it on in. Let's see if we can do something with it. Talon. So that's how we knew numbers, but those were numbers of what stores purchased, right? Not what stores were stuck with. Secret Origins, yeah, you might as well keep it. People like that stuff. Stores like Marvel, even now under Penguin Random House, who I love getting shipments from them, and usually they're in pretty good condition and it's free shipping. It's not as big a discount as it used to be, but the free shipping, I can cut my numbers tight and I can still get a good quick order out there and not have to worry about shipping. Whereas I think I've been screwed by Diamond like all these years. Like if it ever got totaled up and I ever was really smart about it, there's got to be a lawsuit somewhere. I don't really want any of those Swamp Things. Are any of them like number ones, or are those the very end? Yeah, I don't want them. Now we've got Penguin Random House distributing Marvel and IDW. And we've got Lunar distributing DC and Scout and Sumerian and Oni and Keep That Swamp Thing. Brian K. Vaughan, everybody. I think it's just volume 2, but you got to do what you got to do. I told Brian K. Vaughan, I was like, "Oh, I'm really enjoying your Swamp Thing. It's really been picking up at a convention. It was San Diego, and he was like, "Oh, cool." And then he, keep it. And then the book was canceled. What's the name of the last issue of his Swamp Thing? What's the name of it? Can anybody guess? Can anybody guess? Those were about Teffy, by the way, the Swamp Thing's daughter. Fruit should sell better than vegetables. Yeah, they should. You're right. Yeah, keep it. Peter Milligan's a good writer. Do you think streaming culture pushed graphic novels? You get the full story. Well, binging's always been a thing in comic books. I've always noticed. Of course, Jill, you've noticed the stacks. No, thank you. Are they number ones or like the end? Are they hardcover? No. The sixth of the gun. Yeah, I keep bringing it up. No, I don't want it. I don't want it. Cullen Bunn. I'm done with him. Anyway, I think I think the writing has also helped make it that way. And the problem is that when a person comes in, they have this whole big grandiose thing. We're even seeing it in TV programs. Let's say Landry Walker, keep it. Landry Walker, right there. Bunn and Walker. And that's friend of the store and the show, everybody. I've worked with him. Great guy. What number is it? No, I don't want it. I don't care. Superbia. It's the housewives of superhero comics. I'm not doing it. No. Anyhow, that's it's kind of like writing emulated TV or movies. They even got people that write movies. No. They even got movies to or movie people to write comic books. And then they started emulating, television, and no. Oh, Matt Kent. Yeah, keep it. Sure, why not? Somebody cares. And stop. I'm done with that now. Done. You can keep doing it. I'm just joking. No, thank you. 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 No, to unwritten. It can suck a D. Anyway, yeah, so the writing of comics, it's kind of that way. So Heidi says, like, comics are doing well. Well, there are no statistics anymore except from Comic Hub, which was created by some store out there that it wants everybody to be a part of, like a point of sale system, like I already have. And it wants us to, like, pay a fee and belong and let people know. And it's weird. I just don't like it. I don't like having to deal with other people. I've already told you that. Jill knows. There's not that many stores. There's not that many stores that are actually, doing that. I mean, there's still people that write down their numbers and whatnot. So we don't know what sales are actually happening, and we can only extrapolate. So where are we getting numbers that are things are doing well? We're getting it from things like Barnes and Noble and Target. We're finding out that Scholastic and their Dogman and Telgemeier and all the normal things that we always hear are doing really well. There was a Scholastic book of Miles Morales that puts all the Miles Morales comics to shame. There's been some good Miles Morales. I even like some of the Saladin Ahmed stuff, but it was a lot of redundancy, but still good. But like those all ages Miles Morales books, I got to get them back in. They're so good. And, that's where we're seeing the real sales. Manga, we're seeing the real sales. I was taking pictures, and I didn't bring them up for this. We were at a Target, Jill and I today. And I'm looking, it's a wall of Dogman. It's a wall of, other types of comic books. Thankfully, they didn't have any of the mainstream stuff, but nobody really wants the mainstream stuff as much. There's us out there. And then who else? We have a price point for comic books that is too high for new people. Some people come in and they're like, they might have a sticker shock if they haven't been in a store in a long time. The trades for the most part are okay. If you buy a book, you expect to spend $15 to $20. But Marvel and DC, they have some of those, when they do the Epic collections, those could be $40, $45, $50. When the Marvel Masterworks started, they were like $30 books. Now they're $75, sometimes $125. Big fact, Marvel Masterworks, it has still been going on since like the early 90s. But that's it's gone up in price quite a bit. It's hard for new people to get in. It's really hard. Getting 2 quarters was a lot easier back then than I assume getting enough money for 2 comic books. That's like $10, depending on the book. Definitely if it's DC for the most part. If it's Marvel, it's like 6 or 7. That's crazy. $3.99, $8. I was able to take my lunch money and buy the week's worth. I was cheap. The week's worth of comics that day we went there. So I'd get like 3 or 4 comics. That's it. With that one day of lunch money. But I had lunch money the other days, It's crazy. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Some Frank Frazetta art on the D&D would be good. I don't think they want to spend any money. They just want to make money. Omnibus collecting is diminishing. No one is going to want omnibus of books printed after 2018. Well, so many of those omnibuy get out of print like almost immediately. So case in point, I have the Kazar. Who think is it Kazar with a Y? Kazar or Kazar? Anyhow, that one, the Moon Knight ones. I ordered the Savage Avengers ones just because of the Conan aspect. Those should be in soon, hopefully. I agree, Jasper. Batman Eternal was indeed fun. I begrudgingly, I really liked that. And I think that was Villa-Lobos, some of his first work. Does Marvel still overship extra copies of comics to your store? They do not do that. There's been a few times when I've gotten something I wasn't supposed to, but nothing like they used to. But they don't even need to put out numbers. They don't have to impress anybody anymore. Perch had one of his videos today where he was talking about how they could be just giving out free comics, these companies. I've said that before many a time. I think I've said it on his show, his live stream. My concept, though, is that since they're owned by, these conglomerates, movie studios, it wouldn't cost as much money to just run the whole kit and caboodle and give their shit to comic stores or just out there for free to anybody that wants them. If they just made it part of the advertising, they wouldn't spend $100 million on comics that year like they will for any movie they put out. Disney, anything, they always say, if you spent X amount of money, you got to spend the same amount of money for advertising. That's the reason why they got rid of Batwoman, supposedly, because it was like 80 million already, plus they were going to do reshoots, plus they were going to do, so that's 110, let's say. So they're going to have to put another 110 in advertising. $100 million would fund DC for years, and we could have some top grade shit. We don't need all the titles. We don't even need titles to come out monthly. I would be fine if the book came out and I didn't have to worry about having to recycle 1 week after a 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 week all the time. You want to know why comics aren't selling later on? I was able to go back and get this as a child. All the X-Men I wanted to get, I pretty much was able to get. I just needed to wait. When there was there was also returnability. There's other things that made it that, possible. But, comic stores aren't really they're not desirous of letting something that's going to be worth more money later on go. But it still would be nice to know you aren't going to get stuck with all your Tiger divisions. Kelly Jones will get me to buy a title. I totally agree. Hey, Jaffro. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Jaffro is my brother, everybody. He helps me with my taxes. Taxes. You guys are talking to each other. F Comic Hub. My LCS wants me to sign up. Look, you know what the best part of this is? It's now off the grid, baby. It's off the grid. No more. There's a number according to it. And as far as CGC is concerned, this number exists. Whatever. It's like I don't use Facebook, but I need to update. I think you guys are talking to each other on that one. Yes, I buy trades and omnibus at the deep discount site. The problem is when there's something you really want, you can't get it, regardless. Is there anyone that you would be willing to pay full price for? Like, I think if an Ecstatics one came my way, I might pay full price for that. It's hard to pay full price as an owner of a store. I'm really not even buying for myself. You know what I mean? I try and replace something. Like I pull out a good comic book and I put it in when I get something good from the store. I heard Stan Lee call him Kazar. So that's what I would. Well, usually I don't want to go with what Stan Lee says. That's a guy that would sign a DC comic book. There were a lot of people that got on Heidi McDonald's ass when she said, comics are doing great. Periodical comics are struggling in various degrees. They also have no sales charts to show bestsellers. Honestly, we have no idea how well or badly they are doing until we get sell-through numbers, which we'll never get. And then she asked if I would participate. I will not participate. You would think I would want to, since I'm talking about this stuff this way. No, I'm always happy to talk, face to face, stuff like that. But I don't want to do anything. I mean, I'd rather be like this, talking about it. I can tell you, Avengers sales are way less. If they're X -5, or more. Even, and I'm talking Aaron, but even before that, Bendis, Hickman. Oh my God, the Hickman days were beautiful. Just selling so many Avengers books. The periodicals are not doing that well. I am trying to offer reasons for people to come in, to buy the book, to read the book, to talk about the book. The more we do this, I think the better it will grow. At least within the people that are reading it or are buying the stuff. Some 2022 numbers revealed in tomorrow's newsletter. Oh, damn. Really? So that's very important. You should subscribe to our Substack. That is a way to get to the newsletter. You'll get, or just go to Substack and search Fantastic Comics. But if you subscribe, then you'll get these updates. And yeah, we're gonna let you know about what our #1 graphic novel was. It blew Saga out of the water. But I'll have you know, people are only now coming in and saying, "Is Saga back yet?" So it's still happening. The getting the word out there is just so difficult that, and with all the other things that people can do, comics just aren't as important, even though they're probably watching a movie or a TV program or a streaming service thing that has something to do with a comic book these days. The connection has not been, more people came in because Ta-Nehisi Coates was writing Black Panther than Black Panther was a movie. That's what I believe, for me. Maybe in other maybe in LA it's different, where movie theaters and stuff like that. Not like we don't have them here. But yeah, are sales doing well? No, sales are not doing well. So sales are I think you're you're being a pessimist, or you're this kind of person. I don't think those are valid arguments. Yes, you can look at something pessimistically. I think it's the people that look at it with glee that I don't want to pay attention to, unless I'm doing it for comedy's sake. I think if you are ignoring the fact that manga at Target, at Barnes and Noble, is selling better than our monthly, even in collected form, comic books that aren't staples or classics being sold at discount stores. Manga is selling better. Scholastic is selling better. The Scholastic and other company versions of, if Marvel and DC aren't selling well, Image isn't selling as well. Dark Horse isn't selling as well. Well, I don't read Marvel or DC comics. I only come in for Dark Horse. Well, you don't buy a lot of comics anyway. Or Marvel and DC is what gets you in. If you don't feel like you want to come in for any reason, then you're not going to see that other thing. Fantinuum buys Dune comic books. Well, if he wasn't buying DC, he might not know that Dune was coming out. By the way, do you want to keep up with the Rick and Morty now? Oh, it is already tomorrow on the East Coast. I'm sorry, I'm running long. I'm going to end this, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. Not really solving any problems by saying that comics aren't doing well. Just, if there's something that you like, let somebody know. It's important to take someone to the store. When I wasn't working and I was meeting up with my buddy every Wednesday, we chose to meet up on Wednesday so we could go see new comic books. It was exciting to do that. Granted, it was Brightest Day times and also Hickman on Fantastic Four times. But there's still some very good books out there. Again, I recommend Spy Superb and Joe Fixit. I also recommend Danger Street. I know it's a Tom King book, but I still recommend it. And then the Flash 1 Second War is really good. Plus, Jeff Johns is working on a bunch of books right now. So there's some really good comics out there. You just, you kind of have to look for them. And there's always Copra. Come on in, read some Copra, buy some Copra. And with that, I want to say thank you, everybody. Hopefully this video will play, and we'll see you next week.
Lucy and Ramona cruising through the jungles of L.A. Hoping to promote a dream somewhere along the way. They're rolling through the streets, looking for a disco, passing up the treats from a kid named Cisco, trying to make connections with their blemish-free complexions, and just as fate would have it, ended up with Sunset Sam. Sam was selling watches from a suitcase on a TV tray. And Lucy and Ramona were trying to figure out if he was gay. The three of them were standing, staring at each other, when the light behind their eyes blew each other's cover. The ancient code was branded, and each of them was handed a ticket to their kingdom, 'cause they saw their brother Sunset Sam. Sunset Sam. Lucy was from Compton, and she met Ramona at the zoo. Ramona was from Brooklyn. She left when she was 22. Sam was a native of the Arizona desert, but he split when he was slated for some governmental make-work. Their differences subsided when the common bond was sighted. They were all from the same place that made the famous